Now to go behind the story featuring the leading voice of one of today's top topics.
And tonight we welcome in Dr. Jeffrey Bloodworth from Gannon University to discuss the latest on stage one of the peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Doctor, a historic day, not just for the country, but for the entire world.
It's historic. Thankfully, the hostages, those who are still living, have been released. We can look forward to maybe a different chapter between Israel and Palestine.
You know, a lot of people today were talking about does President Donald Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? What's your reaction to that?
Well, right now in Israel and Palestine, the absence of war isn't peace. But I would look to Ukraine and Russia. And I would say this, if Donald Trump can broker a peace deal where the Ukrainians feel that the Russians are not rewarded for aggression, and that this is not just a respite for another Russian invasion, anyone who is Harry Truman or Daffy Duck, who is president, right, would deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. So my answer would be yes. And so look at Russia and Ukraine, and if the Ukrainians walk away from a peace deal and they're happy and they're pleased with this, and there's peace in Europe, that president or whoever brokers the peace deal deserves that peace prize.
How much attention do you think the president puts on that now? I mean, we saw he went all in when it came to Israel and Hamas. It was like 2-3 weeks he's been working on this. How much momentum does he now carry into talks with Russia and Ukraine, Doctor?
I don't know if he carries momentum from Israel and Palestine into Russia, but I think you're right that he very much wants to talk about the Nobel Peace Prize. I think domestically that makes his party happy, and more than that, he knows that it drives Democrats bonkers. I mean, this is just his way of, I think, trolling the other side, and maybe he's not really that interested one way or the other.
Jeffrey, when I saw some of this video this morning, it kind of just stops you in your tracks, all the emotion. You know, it was amazing to watch. What were some of your early thoughts as you watched this today?
I was in Jerusalem about 14 months ago, and there were massive protests at the time against the war based on the premise of bring the hostages home. I think Americans don't fully understand the enormous domestic political pressure to end the war, to bring the hostages home. Every Israeli has a family member who's been fighting for the past 2 years, and there's 2 degrees of separation for every Israeli. They all know someone who knows someone who's related to a hostage.
Doctor, how unifying of a moment was it for the world to see Israel celebrating, Gaza celebrating, just a ton of celebration? Champagne was out there in the Middle East. What'd you make of that?
Well, it's the best day that region has seen in 2 years. Look, what we have to do is have to have a viable Palestinian state that recognizes Israel's right to exist. Maybe in the rubble of Gaza, that can happen. Both sides have to give up some sacred cows. I'm not an optimist when it comes to Israel and Palestine, but it could be a new day. Let's hope.
A month ago, did you think it would get done this month?
I didn't. I know that there's enormous pressure on Netanyahu, but that's been the case for the past year, if not year and a half. Look, I mean, President Trump deserves credit for helping to end this war. There's been a lot of pressure from Hamas's allies. I mean, so this is not just America. Mostly this is other actors. But the president deserves credit. It happened under his watch. He played a significant role. He does have credibility with Netanyahu, something that Democrats lack. The war is over, and the people who are in charge get the credit for that.
Dr. Jeffrey Bloodworth, thank you so much, sir. We
Always
appreciate
great
you
to see you.
stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by.